Today at Manchester Theatres, I am thrilled to be here with the fabulous Rebecca Thornhill, who is currently performing in Spend, Spend, Spend at the Royal Exchange in Manchester. Now, Rebecca is no stranger to the Royal Exchange, having been there before in the production of Gypsy, and that is just one of the many fabulous shows that she has done. I mean, the list is endless. We're talking shows such as Matilda, The Addams Family, Top Hat, Mary Poppins, Les Mis, Chicago, Oklahoma. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It really is fabulous. So I'm thrilled to have you here chatting with us today about Spend, Spend, Spend. So thank you for your time, Rebecca.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here again. I love it.
Well, we love having you. And this time, as we've said, it's for Spend, Spend, Spend. So this is the story based on a true life event of a lady called Viv who won quite a substantial amount of money back in the 60s. So can you tell us a little bit more about the story?
So it's based on a true story, as you said. She won the lottery. I think it was 152,319 in those days, and it was millions in today. And then she just had a ball and spent all of it. Tried to make a success of herself, but carried on spending. Got into a little bit of trouble. Married quite a few times, And the whole show gives you all the insight to her life and what it was like. It's a fantastic show. It's ups and downs. You'll be grabbing your tissue. You'll be laughing the next minute. It's brilliant.
It definitely sounds it, and there's so much to go at, like especially when there's the true story there. There's real elements that you can pull in, but then of course you do get artistic license as well, I suppose.
Rachel Leskovac, but she plays the older Viv, and she sort of narrates the whole thing, and you see it go back to her younger life, and it's just it's brilliant. It's there's a lot to take in, and you have to sort of stay with it. Fantastic.
So you're dual rolling in this, aren't you? You're playing Viv's mum and Mrs Waterman.
Yes, and I play a few other characters, but I won't say too much about those because it's nice to see them sort of pop up, basically. But yeah, as I said on the first day, I'm playing all the other old ladies in the show.
And
yeah, great fun.
When you're doing so many different roles like that, do you ever get like not muddled, because obviously it's your job not to get muddled, but kind of thinking, oh well, this character could do this, no, that's that one, and because it's quite a responsibility that
you don't get muddled because it's put on a wig or a pair of glasses and you've thought about the characters, you just automatically become those characters. Costume and wigs, and they just finish everything off, and in rehearsals, with Josh, he gives you little insights and says, right, so what's your name, who's she, blah blah, and you talk about your character, so suddenly they become alive. So it's a lot easier.
So we mentioned this big amount of money that is the idea of this story is centered around, that Viv wins all of this money on I think it was the pools, and I'm just about old enough to remember the pools man coming round to our house and collecting the money. So just again, there's going to be lots of people who have got no idea. It kind of is the equivalent of today's lottery in a way, isn't it? But it was to do with football results and things like that. Yeah,
you get footy results. It was about draws, getting draws. 8 draws, and you win quite a lot, so I guess it's done in the same tiers as the lottery, where you get like 4 draws, you get a certain amount, you get 6 draws, you get this amount, and
and like you say, she won all of this money, and we got to remember that back then, like you've said, even then it was a lot of money. Today it's a lot of money, but the equivalent is phenomenal. But because but it was the 60s, and so as a woman, what we have opportunity to do now was completely different, and this kind of opened doors for it, didn't it?
And then the other women could see that you could be like her and do stuff that she was doing, and it did open a lot of eyes in the 60s, and it was great for women, it really was.
And so is there loads of like 60s nostalgia in there, like the fashion and like is the music kind of styled?
We sort of go from the late 50s, 60s up to 95. So there's
Right.
a great range. Good for the costume people, bless them.
Yeah, I bet they loved it.
Design, so it's wonderful. And Josh is done Josh Seymour is the director, and he's done an incredible job. And we've got Lucy Hind, who's a choreographer, and she's wonderful because she just develops with you, and she gets characters, and so it's all come together very nicely. And we're only in previews at the moment, so we're still exploring really, and we're still finding things, and still just waiting for it to settle a little. So
yeah. Well, I was gonna ask that because it's what you've got something in a rehearsal room, and then you put it in front of an audience. Are you finding that the things that maybe you thought no one would laugh at, we're getting a laugh out of that, and and
also different each night, so you get different reactions, different parts, and you suddenly go, oh, okay, right, that goes that way, or that might go that way. And then, like, for instance, I found last night that some people want to applaud, and then you're like, well, should I allow that? Should it move on? Should it continue? So it's all those kind of things, and that's what I mean by experimental, and it'll start to gel eventually. And there's a wonderful thing. Josh was talking about this, but the theatre itself, when you first start in the theatre, it feels enormous and sort of overpowering, because it's all around you, and then all of a sudden it becomes your playground, and you become the big person in the theatre. And and I remember that when I did Gypsy, because at first it was like, all these doors and running around, and luckily this time I've got that experience, so it's nice, and I'm actually saying to people, it's that way around, it's okay, it's this way around. And I remember the time running around the whole thing, and I remember the moment when it was just like, oh, this feels like a small, intimate theatre now. It's a wonderful space for that. And I've seen lots of things there, so I've been on the other side as well. So it's fascinating.
It is a special venue, but I'm glad you said that, because I always think when I'm watching productions there, like the cast, whoever performs there, has to be super fit, because you go out one exit and then you must be running around to come back in another one. And I'm always thinking, but what if someone's there? You can just imagine going, out of the way through. Is it? I mean,
when we first start, there's a certain amount of running. I remember rehearsing thinking, I know what this is like, so when we go off, I'm going to say, could I probably go off here, knowing full well that my next sentence is not that far away, so I planned ahead on that.
I like it.
And I've literally 2 stations, one at one end and the other on the other end, and that's it, no others.
I'm done. This is me. I love it.
It's part of the excitement, though. That's and we've got many quick changes in this, so many quick changes, like you wouldn't believe. So
keeps you on your toes. Keeps you on your toes. And what I love with this is that even though you've kind of got there's trauma at the heart of this, you've got addiction and love and loss and all these things, but it's still a musical comedy, isn't it? It manages to interweave that you can't have the comedy without the darkness, I suppose, can you?
No, and also dark things are actually funny sometimes. They make you laugh. They do make you laugh. And there's that wonderful thing of you're crying one minute and the next minute you're laughing. It's a natural instinct. You don't want to dwell in those moments too much. It's fascinating to hear about her life, and the audience do come out going, oh, I didn't know that, or oh, that's interesting, or I met a lady last night and she said, oh, I remember her, I remember that time. And it was it was a big deal in the 60s, like people do remember it.
Well, yeah, definitely. And we've got to talk about the music by Steve Brown. I mean, these songs, oh God, do you have a favorite, or is the one that you don't get to sing that you wish you could, maybe?
Actually, there's quite a few favorites, really. I love the Canary song. It's a pretty song. It's very, and Who's Gonna Love Me, the duet is just, wow, that's yeah, something else. When they at that moment in the show, I luckily get to watch it outside the door every night, so I'm happy about that. But there are many. It's hard, really. Big American Bar is great fun, you know, and you've got Garforth, which is also great fun, you know, playing around with the characters and stuff. My favorite.
It's hard.
It is hard. It's hard because they're so different, you know. They have different sort of genre feels to them.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
do. Yeah.
yeah, and some of them remind me of Victoria Wood a little bit, which
Yeah.
is lovely. Yeah, I can just imagine her doing some of them at the piano. Yeah, there's a bit about in debt at the end, and it's just got that same feel, you know. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll find yourself sort of bobbing along at stuff, and then getting drawn into other stuff. So
I think it's one of them, whichever song you're listening to at the time, that's your favorite because they're all fabulous.
Yeah, the scores, it's very intricate. I mean, you know, it's really complicated.
Yeah.
The orchestra, incredible what they're doing. It's really, really complicated. Yeah.
And this show does raise the question, can money buy you happiness? So has it kind of changed your answer after having done this show?
Well, I've always thought that the most important thing in life is your family and your friends, and you know, money is useful, especially when you're having to pay your gas and electricity these days.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's nice to have money to sort of put your mind at ease, but no, it won't bring you happiness. No, definitely not. And you'll see by the show, by the end of it, and it will make you think and go, oh yeah, okay. It kind of makes you feel glad for what you have.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of them that, of course, it can buy you happy moments because it enables you to do stuff, but it doesn't buy you happiness, which is more longevity.
Buy you happy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not. And it actually makes you feel like at the end you just go, I just want a simple life.
Yeah.
You know, just simple life, and that's it, really. It does make you feel like that. It's great.
Yeah.
And my parents are northern as well, so it's lovely for me to do something that's up north because my mum's from Lancashire and my dad's from Yorkshire, so I've got the war in our house. So, so I know all those aspects of the northern life as well. You know how it was and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nice. Part of it. My accent might be not so great as theirs, but
I'm sure it'll be fabulous. It'll be fabulous, as is the show going to be. And I, for one, cannot wait to come and watch it. It's one of them that I've just, and I know it's been like round before, but I've just never managed to see it. So I have to listen to the music.
I saw it originally actually in London with Rachel playing the young.
The young Viv. Sorry,
yeah. And Rose, who plays it now, is, oh my God, she's so adorable. I can't keep my eyes off her. She's got something very, very special. She's wonderful. So the pair of them together are just magic. It's very exciting. And there were a few people standing at the end yesterday, and that's just the second preview.
Wow.
And from the first preview, I was like, yeah, people are going to really love this. It's going to get a great reaction. You know, you can feel it happening already. And that's just the second preview, which is amazing. It's
going to be spectacular. So people need to go and spend their money to buy a ticket.
They do indeed.
They do. It is on at the Royal Exchange until the 11th of January. So you've got a really good run as well. And I, for one, cannot wait. I'm coming in a couple of weeks and I cannot wait to see it.
You there?
Yeah, you will indeed. So thank you so much for your time today, Rebecca. And we will see you really soon at the Royal Exchange.
Yeah, marvellous.
Thank you. Take care.